What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today we are back with the cube. That's right. Today we're going to be working with the cube. I think I've done actually. I don't know. I don't know if I've actually posted the videos, but I know I've done one. I've done a video where it was a guppy breeding tank, and I made it in this cube tank. And I have done some other stuff with this tank. Maybe I just didn't post it. But today we're back and we're gonna be building an awesome scape in this tank. Also, by the way, I feel like every single video that I've done, maybe like the past 3 videos, I've started sitting down, and I mean, it's honestly because I'm very confined here. Like the tank is very low. I have to like find like the perfect position for me to be able to like show you everything and show you my face, and you get what I'm saying. Regardless, we're gonna be working with this cube. The dimensions are it's literally a box. I mean, it might be off by maybe 1 or 2 centimeters, but it's 15 by 15 by 15, so literally a cube. Now, because don't mind this, by the way, this is not a hazard. I it's not a hazard. Okay, it's in this position because I moved this all to clean it, but it is not a hazard. Okay, I am very careful. Anyway, so what I'm gonna try to go for in this tank is gonna be an island, and I want it to be central. Now, the reason why I want it to be central is because, again, the dimensions are, it's literally a box. So if I'm able to make an island right in the center and try to leave like at least maybe not equal, gaps on the sides, but just, as close as can be, and maybe a nice little foreground, I feel like it'll look great. I'm gonna put some rocks in the middle. I'm gonna be using lava rock in this scape, but like I always say, I always have this vision in my head of what the tank is gonna look like, and hopefully I can bring that into the build. So I'm gonna be talking you guys through what I'm gonna be using in this scape as I'm using it. I don't want to like give you a whole list right now, but yeah, it's honestly, I have a feeling it's gonna be a really nice tank. By the way, I'm building this tank for a beta that I have. Well, it might end up being the best tank just because I have seen the fish kind of nib at him a little bit. Betta's a little slow, and I have him in a tank with some tetras. Not the most aggressive tetras, but I want to just make sure nothing happens to him. So it's either going to be a beta tank or I might end up making it something else. I don't know yet, but we'll see. By the way, if you guys hear like a little hum in the background, it's my fan. It is extremely hot here in California. Maybe not outside, but inside the room that I'm currently in, it is at least 90 something degrees. Okay, so if you hear like a little hum in the background, I'm sorry. It's literally my fan. Right. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna make a small. Well, I'm gonna make like a little. I'm gonna call it like a little hill, a little hump in the middle where the majority of the nutrients are gonna be. And then I'm gonna, eventually put some rocks around. Well, I'm gonna cover it with some sand, and then I'm gonna put some rocks around it. Just start, fidgeting around with it, and then I have one piece of wood, maybe two, that I want to add on here. But let's just go ahead and start getting the nutrients in here, and then we'll go from there. All right, so the nutrient layer is going to consist of some sand and aqua soil that I've had for a while. Like I always say, and like many other people say, always save your substrates from your other builds. By the way, this is probably like the worst possible um, tool to use to scoop this, but this is what was in here. But yeah, always save your substrates just because you never know when you actually might need them again. And this is one of those occasions where I'm gonna use substrate that is, old. Air quotes, because I'm gonna add nutrients to it, so it's gonna be fertilized again. So that would probably be more than enough. And if I recall correctly, there's Amazonia with this sand. Everybody knows Amazonia is packed full of nutrients, so there's probably still hella nutrients in there. But just to be sure, I'm gonna add some root tabs on that. All right, since this mixture here is a little moist, I'm gonna use the metal flattener just because I can't use the brush. I would love to use the brush because I hate hearing that sound, but whatever. We're gonna use the metal flattener and move this back a little bit. All right, now that I have that little, I'm gonna call it a hump, okay? I don't know what word to use, I'm just gonna call it a hump. I'm gonna add some sand now on top of that. That's gonna get thicker. That's probably about 2 inches in height. You can't really tell because of the angle of the camera, but it's about 2 inches in height. So, or we call it depth. Let's call it depth. That's about 2 inches. Now we're gonna add some sand on there. I'm gonna be using the desert sand that I've used before on different scapes. So I'm gonna add. Literally, I'm gonna just mainly focus on covering that hump there, and then eventually this is also gonna be part of the decorative layer. All right, so now that I've added some sand, I added just a little bit more here in the center just so I can move it around a little bit. Now, and you might be wondering, why am I using this sand as a like layer to cover the nutrient layer? It's simply because that sand is actually it's very cheap. Each bag is about $5, so if anything, I just rather use that than use like expensive sand. So I don't mind. All right, so now that I've done that, what I want to do, oh, why did I say it like that? Now that I've done that, now that I've done that, I want to go ahead and just start by placing a rock in there. And like I said earlier, I'm going to be using lava rocks. So I have this, it's literally the same lava rock that I always use. It's so handy to be just, to have like materials from previous scapes just lying around. It's always so good to just have your old hardscapes, your old. Nobody's gonna really throw it away unless you got it like that. But yeah. So I'm gonna place. Let's just start by placing one rock there. Then I want to add. You gotta remember that this isn't like the biggest tank, so I gotta keep that in mind. Also, because I want to put a decent amount of plants in here, so I gotta make sure that I leave enough room for planting. There should be though. There should be. It shouldn't be too crazy. I'm always so afraid I'm gonna drop a rock right on the glass. Put one there. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Maybe there. Maybe I can bring this one forward a little bit more. Just so I have a little more room to plant. Then I do have some smaller ones that I can possibly just spread out if I need to. All right, so I did say I had a piece of wood, and I have this piece of wood here. Now, the only thing is, do I want to place it somewhere like this? Got to be kind of well. I don't want to say I want to be precise exactly, but I want to make sure that wherever I choose to put the piece of wood, it's going to stand out. It's going to look good. If I can make it look good there, because there would be plants like here in front of it. There would be plants coming out from the back there, plant coming out from there. So I think maybe, let me see if there's a gap here where I can plant. Once I glue it down, of course, and everything, I have enough space. Like behind this little rock here, there's enough space for me to put a plant that I really want to go there. So I think that doesn't look too bad. I think I'm gonna go with that. Glue it down, and hopefully it sticks. Just in case you guys have never done it, literally what that is, the way I glued the wood down, or you can even glue rocks together, or just any type of hardscape that you don't really want moving, but especially wood. It's literally, you can see there, that white part, or that white thing there is literally paper towel. So what you want to do is you want to, like, just kind of roll up a little bit of paper towel, and then you want to use liquid super glue. You can use gel when it comes down to you literally gluing the wood directly to maybe the rock. It does take a little longer, but I don't know exactly what chemical reaction takes place where you put the liquid super glue on paper towel and it hardens right away. You could also use cotton, but I prefer paper towel because. But yeah, that's just in case you guys were wondering if you've never done it. Best way to lock your hardscape down. Okay, so now that we have the wood locked down, we have the rock in there. I'm gonna start putting more sand. I'm gonna add the decorative sand now all around the base of the tank. I'll probably add a little bit more in the middle just because I want to have even more planting depth in there. Ooh, I said it correctly. And then I'm definitely gonna add some like decorative gravel. Hopefully it matches with the lava rock because the lava rock is just it's black. So there might be two different tones here, like the super bright red with the super black, but we'll see. We'll just go with it. We'll wing it. Like I said, it's a vision I have in my head, so we'll just see how it turns out. So now that we got the decorative layer of sand, um, I, I mean, it looks cool like this, right? I could run with this. I could just be like, okay, that's fine. But no, we're gonna add some gravel to this that I've used before. I actually used it in this tank here, which is it's gonna be a shrimp tank. I don't have any shrimp in here because it's still cycling. But it's literally that gravel that you see there. It's gonna blend in well with the sand. I don't know exactly how it's going to look with the rock because it's so black, but let's try it out. So we're going to put it in places like these little gaps here, a little gap there, just kind of all around, just to give it a little bit more detail. All right, so there it is. I think it looks better than I thought it was. Honestly, I think it goes well. The vision is coming, right? The vision is coming. It's looking, it's looking like what I had imagined in my head. Obviously, once the plants are in there, you're gonna get a whole different, like it's just gonna look way different. So, just want to kind of show you. I left enough space back here for obviously that's gonna be where we have some stem plants. Majority of the plants that are going in here are stem plants. Um, but there's a plant here which is I'll just go ahead and say it's the Hygrophila compact, which is going to go in this area, and that's just going to be really, I mean, most of this wood is going to end up just being covered. Probably only like this side of it is going to be exposed, which I don't mind. But yeah, I have a good amount of plants. It's not going to be too many, but it's definitely plants that are going to get really bushy and really big. So it'll just look, it's going to, I'm telling you, I'm envisioning it. It's going to look great. All right, so all the hardscape is in, all the decorative stuff is in the tank now. It's time to actually start doing what I think is most people's favorite part, which is putting the plants in the tank. And you might see actually that I put some water in there already. It's literally just to the very top of what the substrate layer, not the substrate layer, the where the sand is. The reason why I put water in it, it's because I don't like planting into like dry sand or like moist sand. It's just really hard to like get the tweezers in there and then bring them out cleanly without pulling out everything underneath. So yeah, that's the reason why I put some water in there, just to make it easier to plant. And also, before I forget, I did end up putting some root tabs in there. This time I'm using the Seacam flourish tabs. I haven't used them before, so hopefully they're good. I mean, it's Seacam, right? There can't be a way where they're not going to work. It's Seacam, so I'm pretty sure they're going to work. But I wasn't able to get the API one, so I went and got the Seacam one. But anyway, guys, we're gonna get into the planting. I am gonna do it in a time lapse. I'm gonna make sure I don't forget to record anything this time, because I've been doing that lately where I just forget to record some of the plans that I'm putting in. But this time I'm literally just gonna let the camera run, and then I'm just obviously gonna edit everything, and I'm gonna put the names of the plants that are gonna be used in the scape. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, because I mean it's not a lot of plans, but I gotta make sure that it looks good. So I gotta take my time with it. All right, so after making a giant mess, and I'm sorry if you can hear music in the background, I got all the plants in. Everything is in there. There is, yeah, I'll just go through them real quick, even though I put the names up already. I have Pinnatifida, Hygrophila pinnatifida, Hygrophila 53B. This is down here, Hygrophila compact. Oh no, this is actually Hygrophila carambosa, not the compact. This is just carambosa. I have Luigia palustre super red. I have Rotala blood red in the back. I have in the front here, you can see it there. I have S. repens. I have Pinnatifida kind of scattered all over. I have, I forget, this is a, I think this is a Ludwigia. I forgot exactly what, but I, I know it's a different, it's a type of Ludwigia, this one. So I can't really remember the name right now. And then here, you can't really see it, but underneath the blood red, I have Myrophyllum, also some Ludwigia palustre super red here. But yeah, and by the way, whenever you plant, there's always a big mess. So I got to get this cleaned up, and then I got to get this tank filled up. So here we are now. The tank has been filled up, and it's actually been running now for a little bit over a week, which I think is perfect. I did end up taking some water from a really, really, really mature tank and putting it in here. So the tank was probably cycled within the first 3, 4 days, honestly. Well, if you put a water from an established tank, if you were to fill it up like 50% of the established water and 50% fresh water, your tank would basically be like instantly cycled. But I just wanted to be safe just because you never know. And then I also did. You might already see it. There's a couple of Endler. Well, they're Endler guppy mix. It's just a bunch of females that I have from they were breeding a lot, and I have a lot of these females. For some reason, out of all the breeding they've done, it's mainly been females. But anyway, yeah, I just decided to put them in there to also help with the cycling of the tank. And I did put some Amanos in there. I rarely see them because there's a lot of like nooks and crannies where they can hide. But anyway, so now that the tank has been filled up and it's been cycled and it's ready to go, I'm going to add the fish that are actually going to go in here. So let me give you a little bit of a close up of the tank. By the way, if you see that little clear white thing there, that's from the the suction cup. It fell off. But yeah, the tank is doing well. The plants are already starting to grow in. The greens really pop under this light. The reds in the back, they're not looking too good because where I had them previously, they weren't getting like the strongest light, but they're getting there, or they'll get there eventually. And then the Ludwigia here is doing well. I have some Palustrius in the back. Yeah, it's looking really good. This pennant feet up here, it's turning red already. So everything is doing fine. Now we're going to be adding the main fish that are going in here, which is going to be a Programi and some guppies that are actually also bred by myself, but it's tuxedo guppies. So they're all going to go in here. So I'm just going to go ahead, set the camera down, put it on a tripod, and yeah, just kind of do like a little release. All right, so the first fish that are going to go in there are going to be the tuxedo guppies. I have them in here. I'm just going to go ahead and release them. I only have three. Well, I have three males in here and one female. And also because all of these little guppies that you see in here, they're all females. So that'd be perfect. They won't just be bothering the one female that's in this container. So here we go. We're going to add the tuxedo guppies, which are they're just beautiful. They're going to look really good under this light as well. I'm putting this water in here because it's water from another tank that's here. It's my tank, so I don't have to worry about any like parasites or in that are are foreign to this water. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the. By the way, I always use these cut up Coke bottles, so you can't really see him. He looks bigger. He looks like blown up, like zoomed in. But now it's the pearl gourami, and this guy should do fine in here because well, he's gonna be the main feature fish. Ooh, that's a lot of water in here, but I'll take some water out. Come on, buddy. Come on. There you go, bud. Perfect. All the fish are in now. You can see the little tuxedo guppies up top. They'll probably just stay up there for a little while until they start getting a little more comfortable. And then you can see the pearl gourami in the back as well. You didn't lose too much color. You can't really tell. Like my camera doesn't really pick up colors like I wish it did. But he's doing fine. It'll just be a little while before they start really just getting comfortable and start swimming around. It shouldn't take too long. It'll probably be like an hour or two. Well, actually, no. He's being brave already. Wow. But yeah, I think this guy is gonna get perfect. He's gonna get along perfectly with all the guppies. I mean, gouramis do tend to be a little aggressive, so I'll probably end up putting like another like fish his size maybe, or maybe just a little bit smaller, so that he doesn't get too aggressive. Because typically, what I notice with gouramis is when there's another fish in the tank that's about his size or their size, they tend to be a little less aggressive because they see it kind of like a battle they don't really want to take. You know what I mean? But there we go, guys. This is the final product of this tank. This tank is looking amazing. Honestly, it's not really grown in. It's obviously going to take maybe like around a month for plants to really start growing in and start looking more lush. But from what you're seeing here, it looks pretty close in terms of how the plants look to me and how it looks on camera. But it looks amazing. Honestly, that's all I can say. I'm really happy that I went with this kind of like rock formation and just the one piece of wood. I think it's gonna. I think that piece of wood is just gonna somehow, once the Panetophyta starts growing and it starts spreading across the wood, it's gonna look really, really nice. And I might end up adding some moss in there. I'm not really sure, but I'm really happy with the result. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this build. By the way, I wanted to say I know I don't post very often. For those of you guys who watch my videos like every single time I post, and you're just there ready to watch it, I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more consistent, but there's just a lot going on. There's a lot I'm trying to like get done, and then on top of that, you try to rest, you try to get as much downtime as you can have, because nowadays it's a little hard to get downtime and really be able to like really wind down. But anyway, without getting too deep into it, I'm gonna try my best to start putting out more content, even if it's not like crazy builds, even if it's something simple like this. I'm gonna make an effort to try and bring out more content. But anyway, as I sit here, really just starting to, oh my God, it's getting really hot in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video now. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. I would really appreciate it. I would appreciate a like as well, and I'll see you on the next one.